about to go downtown.
Downtown, hey!
Downtown. You about to go downtown.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night, and welcome to another week's episode of Downtown Podcast. And today is a very special day because number one, you guys know I'm always speaking on topics of entrepreneurship, ownership, your finances, and always trying to steer us within that lane, especially as a melanated set of people. Now, today we have, I don't even know where to start, Mr. Hunt, but what I will start with is the fact that you've helped over, I think at this point, it may be over thousands of people, not even including just the celebrities, but of people with their credit status, with getting financial freedom or starting towards that path in their life and educating them towards that. You've helped people like Cardi B, you've helped people like Akon, you've helped people like Tank, Bow Wow, like the list goes on. And those are just for people that I guess people would say they look up to, but you've also helped the average everyday Joe and people just wanting to improve in their life in a financial aspect. So for that, thank you. And welcome to Downtown Podcast, James.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. So downtown, off the bat, you know, I let everyone know it is an acronym and it stands for Don't Waste No Time with Negativity. And that is essentially what everything we do stems from. Now, I'm sure working in a financial sector, Mr. Hunt, you definitely have encountered quite the bit of negativity. And usually I save this question for the end, but today I felt like asking from the beginning. What is a recent or a negative situation you can think of? And you definitely could have handled it one way, but you chose to not waste any time with negativity and press forward in whichever way you saw fit.
Well, you know, I would say it was dealing with probably one of my employees. And I think that sometimes you bring certain people in and you see them not going the right way, and no matter how you're trying to steer them, and you realize that this is not going the right way, and no matter how much you invest into them, they're not going to go that way, and you have to kind of like know when to actually cut them and bring in someone else to groom them, or bring in someone else that you can actually work with that will be better fit for the job. So that's recently happened.
Wow. It's ironic that that is the situation you shared today, because I was actually just received a recommendation on a book about how helping others sometimes could be hurtful. And it was a different aspect. The proper title of the book is slipping me now, but pretty much it was just that, where like there's different ways to help people, and sometimes it can end up hurting either the person doing the helping or the person on the receiving end. And as I said before, and I'll say it again, in your line of work, that is something you definitely come across a lot. And an employee at that, when you're really hiring people to help carry out the vision and the messages that you have to like help the people, and they're the ones that end up stabbing you in the back, for lack of better words.
Or not so focused, and not necessarily a backstab, but not so focused and not driven as I am. And but I've learned that cutting someone at a certain point may be good, and because if you actually, once they actually mature to a level, I have employees that are here with me now that were fired once, and they got themselves together and understood what they were doing wrong, and then I was able to bring them back in, and I had no other problem with them. And there are several employees here right now that I've had that experience with. And so I think it's a learning experience, and you have to like have a standard for what you want, and then uphold that standard and make sure that everybody is abiding by that standard. Because if you let one person bring it down, it basically, the whole ship can go down.
Definitely. You said so much that I want to unpack, but let me start because this is my first time speaking with you and having that privilege to speak with you, Mr. Hunt. And I know you've probably been asked some of these questions before, but please bear with me. What really inspired you or led you in the direction of finances? I mean, I'll be very blunt and honest. I've had the opportunity to speak with Angel Rich, and she has a book called The History of the Black Dollar. And she's one of the people that have kind of helped me understand more what is happening, because I am on the Canadian side of the border, but have over 80% of my family within the States and the Atlanta, like Georgia region. So understanding the things that have happened over the past 200 or like 400 plus years that have led our people to kind of be behind other people when it comes to finances. So what in the world would have inspired you to say, hey, this is what I want to get into, despite all of the negativity, I guess, surrounding it and connotations?
Well, I think that first is identifying a problem. And I think that really what a successful business is basically identifying a problem and then finding a solution. And if you have a solution to a problem, then you can actually build a successful business. So I recognize the problem within our community and within especially within our race, because we have not been taught as some other races may have been from a young age, how to be abreast of our financing and everything else, and especially issues that concern credit. And so you recognize that there is a problem in our community, and so being able to address that problem and to educate, because it is not just enough to just simply say, all right, so we're going to talk about your credit issues and straighten out your credit issues. Mm-hmm. If you don't educate them, they will be right back in the same situation 6 months later. And so you have to educate them all along the way. Even with the celebrity clients that I have, people will be just blown away. First, everybody's blown away to say, how can celebrities who have Akon is worth over 100 million? How can you have all of these, all of this money and then have credit issues? And it is, even though you can be educated in your craft and in your field, music, you may not be educated when it comes to your credit and the financing and everything else. And so that's what I bring to the table with making all that kind of stuff happen. I'm even currently working on some things.
What was that situation? What was that problem that you discovered? Or were you walking through the mall one day? Like, what did you study finances within school?
So I'm in sort of like a unique situation. So first, I'm a believer in God. So I'm a pastor's kid. So I grew up in the church. So, and I believe that God can actually steer you in a direction where I'll have people who are just like blown away with the success that I have and able to have built a multi-million-dollar company from being homeless just 7 years ago. Wow. And everyone wants to know, what is the key to the success? And as much as I would maybe be tempted to actually boast in it, the reality is that it was God's doing. And he literally put a problem and showed me a problem and then gave me the solution. I studied, obviously, everything that had to do with credit. And I learned, and he began, as I started my business off in Starbucks in Buckhead, and sitting in Starbucks with a cheap $200 laptop and a flip phone. Wow. And talking loud enough on the phone so that people around me could hear and be attracted to my table and come over and talk to me. And it went from there, from absolutely nothing. Plenty of moments and plenty of days where nobody ever sat at my table, and I wanted to just simply get up from that table and say, I can't run this business, I can't do this, I can't make this happen. I'm just going to ask Starbucks to give me a job. But I pursued it, And as I pursued it, God just simply began to bless and began to send the people my way. And you were saying it's over 100,000 clients, regular clients, over 500 celebrity clients now.
That's
in
like,
7 years.
if you're not inspired by hearing something like that, like I don't know what gets you pumped up to really want to do something. And I've always said to myself, because I am a PK as well, and I've always said to myself, I said, I'm not, and I've been taught never to judge a person based on the status of like where you meet them at in life. It's their character, the character that speaks to me, the actions. Because look at that. That's not even a decade ago. 7 years ago, you were homeless, and blessings to you for making it.
And didn't know any celebrities, had no idea, had no attraction to them. I was not interested in celebrities at all.
Some days you must have just pinched yourself and said, am I dreaming?
Yeah, so they just beginning to start coming, and the celebrity world is a small world.
Yes, it is. It is.
And everybody knows everybody. Every NFL player knows every rapper, knows every NBA player, and all the actors. Everybody knows everybody. And once you are good at what you do, they just simply pass you around within their circle.
Wow. So what do you think are one of the things that those initial clients, those initial high-end clients probably saw in you, or besides the fact that you improved the credit score, but what is something that you feel helped them to recommend you to other people? If you could look within yourself and say, whether it was you showed up on time every time there was a meeting.
Well, yeah. So I think that your work ethic is everything, even to this day. So your work ethic is everything with how you bring them in, whatever accommodation you make for them, making sure that they are centered in what you're doing, and that whatever it is that they need done, you're able to actually to make that happen. So I just simply don't handle credit issues, but I'm sort of like, I have a cabinet of professionals that are loan officers at every bank. I know every real estate agent in town. I know all of the top real estate agents, really, and every finance manager at every high-end car dealership, Rolls Royce, Bentley, and everything else. I can get Bentley open on a Sunday when they're not even supposed to, because I know the owners. And so I've had to do that for celebrity clients. And I'm currently helping Kanye to get his house in Atlanta. So it's that kind of connections that you have that sort of like sets you apart from everybody else, and makes you sort of like in this own lane where everybody is drawn to you because of what you bring to the table. If it was just simply credit, I would just be in one lane over here. But because I have a cabinet of professionals at my disposal, I know how to reach out and make things happen. And they call you because you're that resource center.
Yeah. Earlier, you had mentioned that there's some employees that had left you and they've come back, and now knowing a bit more of your story in terms of you being homeless 7 years ago and being where you are now with a multi-million-dollar company, it seems like there is a part in you that you do believe in the underdog. Are you able to speak to that a bit?
Oh, absolutely. So my publicist will tell you. So when I decided to actually start a company, I made sure that I did not run to Morehouse and Spelman and do my hiring. But I actually I've hired people. My office manager was a busboy at Southern Gentleman in the shops of Buckhead here in Atlanta. He was a busboy. And he was, it was a busy day on a Sunday back when everything was going on in there. And all the high-end people come in on Sunday after church, and it's a bougie place to be at. And he had a manager that was Caucasian that was yelling at him. And those of us who were in there, we were a little bit offended by it when he did it the first time. We were more offended when he did it the second time. When he did it the third time, I got up from my table and told him to take his apron off, and I gave him my card, and I told him, tomorrow you work for me. And I asked the manager what his salary was, that was yelling at him, and I told the bus boy, I'm going to pay you his salary.
Wow.
And I hired him, and he works for me today. And today he knew nothing about the business, and I taught him the business, and today he's the office manager.
That is amazing.
Like a year and a half ago. And so he's been with me for a year and a half. And there's a story behind almost every employee that I pick out. And I handpick them from unusual places and I think that if you take people and you give them the right opportunity and position them, that greatness can come out of them. All they need is the opportunity, and you place them in the right environment. And then all of this, I would have never thought that he could actually run this office the way that he actually runs the office. Yeah. And answers to everybody else answers to him here. And he was being yelled at as a busboy and intimidated by this white manager. And today he runs the office. And obviously every chance we get on his birthday, on this year anniversary here, we go back to the same restaurant and celebrate. And the manager is still there, so they know the whole story, and all of our former employees, they know the whole story. I think it's important to have success stories and breed success. If you are a successful businessman, you're not really a successful businessman unless you breed success in others. And if you're not breeding success in others, if you're the only successful person in your surrounding, in your circle, then you're really not successful.
Yeah.
The success has to be bred. It's in every employee. So he never had his own apartment. He never lived in Buckhead. I live in Buckhead. He never lived in Buckhead. All of my employees live in Buckhead. When I hired them, none of them lived in Buckhead. All of them had bad credit. All of them have good credit now. So all of them have nice cars and new cars and everything else. I make sure that they live on the level that I want them to live on, so that they are a reflection of me.
I'm so happy that, I know you probably have a bunch more, but I'm happy that, just as I said, I'm learning your story and knowing what you're coming from. It actually warms my heart to just see the excitement still even on your face, explaining these stories, knowing that I can only imagine what it's doing for you, the healing it does for you in terms of within, because of the goodness you're able to do for others. You know, I remember times when I'm not at a multi-million-dollar company, but times where I wasn't able to do as much as I can now. And I feel so amazing and good when I'm able to, whether it's give someone a ticket or free access here on behalf of the website or whatever the case may be. And it's just, it's the people may be, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're doing this for me. But they sometimes don't even know what it does for you.
Yes, it really just, and then to watch, I'll get on their social medias and everything else, because obviously celebrities come through here all day long. Yeah. And so they have their social media filled with photos with all the celebrities. And so I don't know these young rappers who come to me and I do handle all their issues and everything else, but the younger employees, they know these guys. So I didn't know who Lil Baby was when he walked through the door. They had to in-school me. They had to
he's very at the top of his game. Now you know.
So, and he since shot 2 videos in my house. So, wow.
I am a fan of Baby, and I am a fan of him as a CEO. I feel like a lot of people just see him as that artist, but I haven't got to meet him in person as others have, but just of what I've observed of him through media interviews, he seems like a very smart young man. So knowing that he's connected with someone like you, it's only helping me to understand that maybe my feelings about him or thoughts about him are correct. Now, when it comes to the people around you, because sometimes when you're going up, you haven't changed, but the people around you, sometimes they don't receive it as well. I mean, you're homeless at one point, and now you probably show up to family occasions, and everybody has those things that happen, right? Whether it's friends or family. But how do you deal with or finesse through those situations? As like one of my favorite quotes from Jay-Z the rapper, because you're dealing with a lot of rappers, so you got to know these things, James Hunt. Okay, he says, "Show you how to move in a room full of vultures." So, what are some of the ways that you've learned to maneuver when it comes to those things?
So I think you just can't take yourself as serious as other people might take you. I think that when you start to elevate, I have so many friends who just stopped calling me. It wasn't me. They stopped calling me. They stopped associating with me. As they saw me elevating, they just cut themselves off from me. And that's kind of hurtful in a sense. But I think that when you know that you're going somewhere and you're going to a level, you can't take everybody with you. And so you have to actually understand that people are with you for the time that they need to be with you, and that the Creator, God, will position people in your life for a season, even family members for a season, and then you have to know how to like pull back away from them. So I hit a extremely low point in my life, which led to me being homeless, and family was not there. Wow. And avoided me, and said that I would never be, and that I would never do, and I would never have, and I was voted least likely to ever do anything. But God had his hand on me, and they did not recognize it. And at some point I did not recognize it. And until he started doing what he was doing, and until the critics in my own family became cheerleaders. And I think that you just kind of like gotta like let God just do what he does. And you have to be mindful not to get caught up into who you think you are and who people say you are, that you lose focus, because I'm that same person who was walking up and down the streets of Buckhead on Peachtree and sleeping in the Intercontinental in the restroom stall and didn't have a place to stay. Yeah. And so I'm always mindful of that, yeah, at all times. And so I'm cautious with how I treat people, because I need to consider where I came from, and make sure that I treat people in a way that the rug is never snatched out from under me, and I end up back where I was.
I hope that you guys that are watching, you're taking notes and you're really listening to like this wisdom and knowledge that James is sharing with us today, because I know I'm going to rewatch and soak it in even more, because sometimes in the moment I may, I'm so into the conversation, but you're speaking on a lot of things. I know we're kind of glazing over because of time and things like that, but you're really speaking a lot of things that a lot of people should take heed to and listen to, including myself. And those are one of the things that I've kind of, on my entrepreneurship journey, looked at it and said, wow, like I remember the times I would say to people, I'm going to be on television one day, I'm going to be on TV one day, and people laugh and, kind of joke it off, hee hee. And then next thing you know, I get contacted by TMZ. And that was a moment that was definitely not a turning point, but it solidified a lot of what I was feeling when I was allowing others to make me feel like I was crazy. So I really do appreciate when people like yourself that have really gone through like things in life, that you're able to let others know that, hey, there's more to come, but it's a part of the journey.
It's a part of the journey. And I think that you have to also keep in mind from a religious point of view that to whom much is given, much is required. And so I have my charities. I do this Christmas party every year with TI, where we give to men coming out of prison, and we give them suits and dress clothes, and he gives the kids toys and all that kind of stuff. I always do the dinner, but I give a lot of clothes and suits and donate all of that kind of stuff. And it is a passion of mine. So for this particular halfway house that houses both men and women, I do every holiday meal that there is. So 4th of July, Labor Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas, every holiday that there is, I'll have caterers to come in and turn their cafeteria into like the Ritz-Carlton.
Yeah.
And bring in chefs and uniform servers and everything else, and give them this, and bring in live jazz band and give them this 5-star type treatment with the best of the foods and everything else, because I'm considerate of what would I want if I was there. And so I try to make sure that even now when I'm like Labor Day, I didn't go, but I sent some of my employees there to make sure. And I have an employee who was there at that halfway house. So I took him in, and his story is on my Instagram. So on how we actually took him from there. He had been incarcerated for 7 years and sort of like thrown out. He lost his little job that he had with, I forgot where he was working at, some little warehouse thing. And right when the beginning of coronavirus, and I hired him, and then I moved him to Buckhead and got him a place in Buckhead, and I furnished his house. He's since got a new car. And so it's just kind of like taking their lives and just like restructuring their lives, giving somebody opportunity. And then I sent him back up on Labor Day with all of the food from a restaurant that we ordered from, barbecue for everybody, and teaching him that it is also your responsibility, even though he didn't pay it back, he didn't pay for it, it's your responsibility to give back. The guys need to see you, and they need to see you as a part of those who give back, so that you understand the responsibility.
Definitely.
Of giving back.
And, you know, when it comes, we're speaking about COVID now, and what do you, like, for me, things started hitting around February, but like, where kind of were you when you were learning of COVID? How have you been adjusting, like those hard months when everything was really, really shut down for a little bit? Just how are you dealing with the whole idea of coronavirus, a pandemic? It's new to all of us, but.
So outside of here, I hear all the, and I watch the news and everything else outside of here. I'm cautious of it and everything else. But inside of here, I think that this is kind of like an environment that I control. So while I don't have clients coming and going in the office like we used to, but the coronavirus, I made sure that it was not like going to affect this company the way I heard other companies being affected. And while others were laying off, I was hiring. And so I've hired 4 new people since Corona has happened, and I got another position open right now. So I think that, so I approach business from a faith point of view. And from a faith point of view, I see that no matter what is happening outside of here, I'm blessed in here. And so, and the people, I pray over my employees the way I pray over myself and their families, and the responsibility that I have over them. I pray over them, and that he would bless not just me, but he's using me as a vehicle to bless them and their families. And so I'm always interested in, who else do you want me to bless? What other life can, and that you can trust me to do it. And that you can trust me to actually bless them. And I'm going to be to them what you are to me. And I think that that is the key to success for a businessman. So you have to see first, the CEO of this company is God.
Yes.
And so I acknowledge him in the way that I run my company. And so he's the CEO. He's the one that makes the phone calls. When I get a phone call and it says, who, Kanye's on the line?
God.
I didn't have nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
So it's him, it's the CEO who made that happen. And so I would be foolish to think that, yeah, my connections and I got this and I'm doing this and I'm doing this. That doesn't make it happen. It's him. And so when you acknowledge him, then and you give him the credit of what he is doing, then it opens a door for him to be able to do what he wants to do in how you're doing it. So he knows I'm going to bless people, and he knows I'm going to give, and he knows
your heart.
Provide. Yeah.
He knows your heart. I seen a quote today, and it said, "Prayer is a part of my business plan." And I said, "Yep, that's a key."
Absolutely.
That is a key factor.
It is my boardroom meeting. That's what it is. It's my boardroom meeting because I don't talk to the CEO. What am I doing? I'm just running the company. And first of all, so while everybody else talks about what they, I'll get like all of these, I get invited to these panels like before coronavirus. And they invite on the panel, and everybody is all title heavy. And I went to this school, and I was a part of this fraternity, and I did this, and I did this. And they'll ask me, so where did you go to school? And the crazy part is, I'm a high school dropout. And everything, how are you advising all of these clients, and how are you handling all of the financing and all of this for all of these people? It wasn't that I was qualified, but he called me and he qualified me with the calling. And so he gives me the wisdom to actually do what I'm doing. It doesn't mean that I just go in dumb and not study, but he gives me the wisdom to be able to prepare and then how to maneuver. Yeah. So it wasn't that Joseph knew how to actually run the palace. He had his gift that was given to him, and when he was called in the right position and put in the right position, he was able to run the palace.
Yes.
I'm running the palace.
Yes. And you're helping other people being able to run their own palaces as well. So it's really
exactly.
So recently within the media, there is a R&B group, I guess you could say, and one of their members, I believe his name is Baby Blue. He recently, it's been very publicized because I don't like to speak on rumors, but he's acknowledged it. It's been very public. He's currently facing some charges in connections with a $24 million scam, I guess you could say, for lack of better words, in connection to the, checks that people were getting from the government in relation to COVID.
Yes.
I've been on my social media through all this happening. I've seen some people wearing chains I never seen them wearing before. This person's telling me, give me 500, I'll give you 5,000. How do you deal with that world and that side of things? Or how do you kind of block it out of your palace so that it doesn't?
Okay, so full disclosure.
Yeah.
Baby Blue is a client of mine.
Oh.
So, okay. And a friend. So he's a client and a friend. And so I'm concerned, and I'm concerned for his well-being. Definitely. And I pray for him. And but aside from him, I would say, let's just push him out of the picture. Anything that you have to worry about, anything that is fast success, fast this, give me this, and let me just get this really fast and get all of this money and not know that there's going to be consequences. And there's going to be consequences. And so I have talked to him since then, and since he went to court the other day, and talked to him even this morning. Yeah. And so
welcome this beautiful baby boy.
Yes. I was telling him, I was speaking over his baby boy, and I was telling him that he shall be great and he shall change the world. And I was sort of like prophesying over this baby boy for him. And so I'm happy for him that even in the midst of craziness in the same week, life is coming. And that's what I'm trying to explain to him, is that as it seems that your life is trying to be taken away from you, and yet God is showing you that new life is coming in, and you have a reason to actually live and to do the right thing and to be a role model for this new little boy who's going to need his daddy, and he doesn't need the celebrity baby blue.
He needs the dad.
His daddy. And so we talked about that this morning.
From what it sounds like to me, you said the perfect things that if I were in his position, I would need someone like you with that head on shoulders telling me the things that you just said. So very happy to hear that you were able to share what you shared with me with him.
And I think that God gives you and puts you in a place where that when things are happening, you can actually speak into the lives of people, and that you realize it wasn't really that he needed me to help him clean up his credit years ago, but you have kept me in his life for such a time as this, so that when he's going through this, someone would be, because he gets beat up in social media, on his social media regarding that. And they said so many hateful things.
Well, I guess he's the most popular person in regards, and we've seen that time and time again. A whole big situation with how many, as I said, like there's a whole group of people, but for whatever reason, they make always the celebrity or the most known person the face of this, and social media doesn't really do their digging. They just kind of go with the fun and what's hot. Right? And they don't think about how it affects the person that they're commenting on. And that's why I kind of said, like, I'm very happy that, I had no idea that was the situation where he was someone that was a part of your roster. But look at God. Like, it's comforting, because I've definitely had those moments in my life where there was people I didn't expect, like, recently, well, not recently, but I connected with someone that was a bully to me in elementary school. Plenty of days I'd go home crying, beaten up from this person. And now they are one of the people in my life that I call one of my closest friends and confidants. She's been through incarceration, pedophilia, unwanted pregnancies, you name it. And, I've come to a place in life, she's come to a place in life where we really sit down and that's why I really related when you said you kind of let people come back, because I definitely have those people within my life as well. But she corrects me all the time and helps me to heal and helps to guide me, and is that person as you are now for Blue, or one of those people in his life. So definitely, like, it's very important to not have a bunch of yes men or people around you in your circle, but have people that conscious mind, level-headed. And sometimes I love people that have just been through life.
Yes.
Because
yes.
No, sir, you go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, because I think that's what they respect. And so I don't necessarily want someone in my life speaking to me if you have not been through something. And especially when I'm going through, I need to be here that there is greater days coming from somebody who has been where I have been, or who's been where I am right now. You need to speak to me, because what you have to say to me is the most important thing, because you have moved on and you have learned from where you were. And if you could make it, then that is a sign to me that I can make it, and that the same God that did it for you is able to do it for me.
Yes. So another staple question that we do have here at Downtown Podcast is the 4 elements. You have earth, wind, fire, and water. Which element do you resonate with the most, James? Or which element do you feel represent to you the most, and why?
Wow, I think all of them were. I would say win, because I recognize that there have been people in my life who have been the wind beneath my wings, and that I would not have been able to fly and to do and to soar to the levels that I have been at had there not been people who were the wind beneath my wings. And I think that when you learn to fly and you learn to soar, then you also have a responsibility in being the wind beneath others' wings. And so I would say definitely the wind. And the wind is there to actually push others into greatness. And that sometimes people recognize that there could be greatness in them, but they are afraid. And I think that pushing them, that win is just what they need to just shove them into it. Because you could be standing there on the cliff trying to talk yourself out of success. And it is that win that actually pushes you into your greatness. And that's definitely what I want to be with the people in my circle and the people that God would bring into my circle. I want to be that win for them.
I'm just so like, I feel like I could just sit down and listen to you speak like forever. Like it's one of those things where time can slip you because you just have so much knowledge and greatness to share. I feel like most times when you're even saying things at this point, you don't even notice how great or grand it is because, you're just in your being, you're just within your existence. And that is the second time I've ever had that answer in the years that I do ask that question, but it was the first time that I've gotten that explanation, and is making me look at wind completely different because, like you said, sometimes I do have a couple of those friends where they're a little bit on the timid or shy part, and sometimes they just need a little nudge or a little push of wind or a gush of wind, just to let them know, hey, like you have full support behind you. Go ahead and go for it. So
I wanted to say fire because it was like the fire represents being thrown into the fire represents actually being all of those things that was on me that was holding me back. Like the Hebrew boys who were thrown into the fire, and that the only thing that the fire burnt off of them was what had them incarcerated, which was the handcuffs and the ropes that were tied to them. And so the benefit of the fire and then being able to walk out of the fire is the testament, and not to even have smoke, the smell of smoke on you. They smelled them after they came out of the fire. And really, if there is a success story to be told, it would be that if I was going to write another book, and I'll probably write another book, it would be there is no smell of smoke that is left. That even though I have been through the fire, that I came out of the fire without the smell of smoke. And I think that is absolutely essential. And that was the real testament of their story, was that they were able to come out. And life is not just simply about what happens to you in the fire, but how you actually emerge out of the fire, which is what Baby Blue needs to be able to understand, that you're in the fire now and you don't know how long you're going to be in the fire, but what you need to understand is that there is an exit. And the point is that how are you going to exit out of the fire?
I don't know him clearly, but I do watch a lot of Love and Hip Hop. I'll just be honest with you. And I'm not always, I guess, thinking what others thinking, or they think as a woman, they would think this. When you look at me, you shouldn't think I'm going to say what you think I'm going to say or think, because my thinking is very different and out there. I'm a weirdo. But I remember watching the Love and Hip Hop Miami franchise. Not that you're into that stuff. I'll get to
But I got a whole bunch of clients. Almost everybody on that show are my clients. So I do know everybody.
Well, what I did want to say was I remember he was kind of in a little skerfuffle with Pleasure P and a young lady, her name is slipping right now, but I love Shay Johnson. And they were there was a little bit of a situation. But I remember when the situation was going down, and at first Blue was all, "Rowdy, rowdy, rah." But then I think a couple episodes down the road, or don't quote me, but he was spoken to by someone, similar to how you said you've kind of spoken to him. And ever since that moment, through following him on social media, I seen, or through what I observed, because obviously you never know, but it seems like he took heed to what that person has told him. So I don't have any doubt that he won't take heed to the good advice he's getting. Something kind of just through watching that, and I seen how at first he was, but then he probably took a little bit of time to really digest what was said to him before it was too late, and he apologized about the situation. And he had like a kind of teddy bear aspect to him where it kind of made me look at him differently. Like there's more to, as you said, it's not just celebrity Blue. There's definitely another person. So that is one of the things I've kind of always noticed outside of all the Love and Hip Hop drama, right? But so I have no doubt that he won't disappoint you. He'll try.
And you can't pay any attention to what you see on TV.
It's entertainment.
It's all staged. It's all staged. None of it is real. He and Pleasure P are like brothers, and so it's none of that is real. So, and I've been to both of their homes and everything else, and they're good.
I'm a part of the media world.
While all of that was going on, it was never. That's all.
Yeah, it's just entertainment for me. Sometimes we need to take a little break from all of the work, right? So those are one of my guilty pleasures. Just out of curiosity, James, what are one of your guilty pleasures in life? Whether it was food or an activity or a certain craving you may have that no one really, that you don't mind sharing?
I'm a car fanatic.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm a car fanatic, and I love food too. So I have a chef. So I'm lucky enough to have my business in on the first level of my home, and so this is a 4-level home in a gated community in Buckhead. And this whole first level is the office. So there's 3-4 offices on this level, and the business. And I live upstairs, and so I entertain a lot of the celebrity clients upstairs. But I have chefs in here every day, and I have multiple different chefs. And so these guys are so lucky because they get to order whatever they want. They get to eat whatever they want. And so we tell the chef what they want for breakfast, what they want for lunch, and whatever they want, no matter how expensive, they get to eat it every day for free. For
That's
free.
beautiful. Meals are included in the job, which is in your resume.
And they have a personal trainer that comes in Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
That's really good.
Him on the 3rd floor, and they get free training.
Do you join the training, James?
No. Though I needed the most. They're all in shape. I don't know why they go, but he started off as my trainer. I passed them on to the office. But
if it's even once a week, you should give it a try.
I know. I could be up there right now, but I'm not. But I do love the cars. So I got a ton of expensive cars, and then I'm.
Well, what is your type? What is your type of cars? I'm not fully savvy, but I know that it's not just, if you're a car fanatic, it's not just cars. There's a certain lane. Like everyone kind of has their type or the style. So are you like an old school?
No, I like expensive cars. And so right now I have the three most expensive BMWs. So I have the M850, and I was the first one to get it when it came out, the very first one to get it.
In the world.
And because I got connections with BMW. And I have the M760, which is the big boy V12. And I have the X7, and I got that as soon as it came out. So all of the cars I got as soon as they came out. So I got all three of those, but I have a unlimited, so I have a branding contract with Rolls-Royce. And so because I send all of my celebrity clients to Rolls-Royce, so I can get a Rolls-Royce whenever I want it, with or without a driver. Yeah. So at my beck and call. So I usually have a Rolls-Royce almost every day, every other day.
Do you drive? Do you drive?
Yes, of course.
You get to enjoy these cars. I know sometimes you're not supposed to drive them because the mileage and.
Yeah, I drive them. So
life is about living. I love that.
I don't put a lot of miles on it. So I live in Buckhead and I don't go anywhere. So I run this business from here. I don't remember driving anything. I haven't drove anything today. And I got all of the cars. I have Range Rover too. I have all of the cars and more cars than I can actually fit in the garage and in the driveway. And I never drive them.
You must enjoy your gifts, okay? You must, I'm looking at you. I don't obviously know you very well, but I'm taking the time to let you know, James, you seem like a man that worked very hard, and you must take the time to enjoy the fruits of your labor every now and then.
Yeah, so Ice Cube was telling me, like, you need to go on a vacation. You need to come out here to LA. You need to take a week, 2 weeks off and come out here and hang out with me and just do nothing. And
just passed, and it has me reflecting a lot. And I'm like, these things are very important.
Now, so I haven't been on vacation since I started this company. But that doesn't mean I haven't been out of town. So I go out of town for everything. So every major event I'm out of town for. So before this whole coronavirus, I'm at the Grammys, I'm at the Oscars, I'm at the BET Awards, I'm at Tyler Perry's event.
I guess when you're having fun at work, it doesn't feel like work because you're doing something that you actually enjoy.
But I am working though. So because I'm not there to actually enjoy what they're enjoying, I'm there to network. And networking is everything. It's making the connections. It's about, if I go to a concert, I'm not going to the concert. So Future and Young Thug and all of those are my clients. And you'll see me backstage with them. You rarely ever see me out listening to the concert. I don't even like their music, but I'm there because I need to network. And Future said, hey, you calls me, hey, you like the music? I was like, it was loud. It gave me a headache. It was just too loud. And who can understand anything you said? It was a mess.
At least you're honest.
Yeah, and that's what he likes. It's like,
that's what they love.
I think you're not a fan. So, but I'm there to network with the people backstage, and it's all the right people are backstage, and those are the people I need to talk to. And so every event is an opportunity to actually be backstage and to network and to gather new clients. So I'll be
the celebrity credit guru. Like, I don't feel it's even fair for people to limit you to that title. That's why I didn't even really say that at the top, because I feel right. You're so much more than that. It's so much more than you just helping people adjust their credit. And I hope you do not stop what you are doing.
Thank you.
Right until the wheels fall off, James.
Yes, I intend to. Absolutely.
If I may ask you, just in closing, if there was something that you would want to share in terms of, because a lot of the times it's not the motivation that makes you successful. It can wake you up, but the discipline is what keeps you going. And your work ethic and being consistent is something that is a reoccurring topic that I hear you mentioning in our discussion today. And if there was something that you could just say an advice towards that, or share towards that to others that may be hoping to have a multi-million-dollar company one day?
So everyone always asks me, what did you do, and how did you become so successful in such a short period of time? And it seems like a lifetime for me. So they see 7 years, it's just like, oh, it's just such a short period of time. It's like, you should have went through it. It was not a short period of time. 7 years feel like 70 years. But the key, I've always said, and I have a new book with that same title, called Living Without Distractions. And
Without distractions?
Without distractions.
Yeah,
and so, yeah, I'll make sure you get a copy. And Living Without Distractions it has been the key to my success, because I have nothing pulling me in any other direction. So I'm laser focused on what it is that I'm building and what it is that I'm making happen. And that is the only thing that drives me. Nobody can pull me in any different direction. Allen Iverson was in town two days ago, and he had an event over at Tyler Perry's house. It's like, come on over. And then we're going to go out afterwards. After this, we're going to go out to the club. It's like, not. I know what I got to do. And I got Big Mac from NFL coming, from the Baltimore Ravens coming tomorrow. I need to be on point and everything else. I can't do it. I can't go. I'm not going to be there. I need to handle this, what I need to handle. And so you just simply have to live on purpose and know what it is that you're doing and what you're called to do. And I'm trying to make sure that for the 24 hours I am given, that I maximize it to its fullest, and that I get everything out. By the time I lay down tonight, I want to be able to say that I left no stone unturned. So it's living without distractions. It is the key to success.
I just want to give it some room to breathe out.
It is a key.
It is the key. It is the key. James, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for the knowledge and the wisdom and the laughter that you shared with me today. And Downtown Podcast, don't waste no time with negativity. You heard it here today with James, the conversations you never get to hear. And I hope that you receive all of that you got today. We just had to let it breathe a little bit, James, because you just dropped the mic on him. So
wow. Yes. So I'm just grateful that you invited me, and I'm just happy to talk, and just call me back whenever you want, and I will come and talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Thank you, James.
About to go downtown.
Downtown, hey!
Downtown. You about to go